Alright, so we're going to set up a pipette column, and a pipette column's primary purpose in this experiment is to filter out any remaining very fine particulate matter from the tablet. And so what we need is a pipette, a clean pipette that hasn't been used before, clean and dry. We need a little bit of glass wool and some alumina. Okay, and so what you're going to do first is you're going to grab a small piece of glass wool. It doesn't have to be very big. And then you're going to take it and between two fingers try to ball it up into a small pea size, actually less than a pea size, BB sized piece of glass wool. It's going to be very, very small. Maybe you can see it there. And then you're going to shove it down into the open end, the large open end of the clean pipette, and you'll probably need a second pipette to kind of coax it down into the bottom of the pipette that you've put it in. And what you're trying to do is get it kind of lodged in the narrowing part of the pipette. So you see it here. It doesn't have to be very much. It doesn't have to be jammed in there very hard. In fact, if you jam it in there too hard, you're not going to get any flow of liquid. So you kind of want to put it down in there so it's good and set, but not so tight that no liquid's going to get through. So don't get too excited about doing that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to add some alumina into the pipette, and there's a number of ways of doing it. The easiest way, in my opinion, is to take the open end of the clean pipette and just scoop it into the pipette. And you're going to do that, need to do it a couple times until you get about 5 centimeters of alumina in your pipette, and that's about 3 fingers height. I know everybody's got different width fingers, but it's about 3 fingers. Once you get about 5 centimeters or 3 fingers of alumina, you're all set. That is an alumina pipette, or a pipette column. You're going to need to put this in something to hold it to do the actual procedure of doing this column. So you need to put it in a clamp. You're going to have to do this in your hood because that's where your clamps are. You're going to notice that the clamps are not going to ever clamp a pipette. They're just too narrow. So you can do one of two things. One, some people like to wrap a paper towel around it a number of times until the width is wide enough to clamp, for the clamp to actually hold it. What I do instead is, if you look at the back of the clamp behind the screw, behind the spring, there's a little gap in there, and that gap is just about the right size for one of these pipette columns. And if you carefully turn the wing nut until it just clamps it, you'll be fine. It will set. You can put your collection vessel underneath and you're good to go. Don't get too excited about turning the screw because it has more than enough force to crush the pipette. And so if you turn it too hard, it will crack. So you just want to turn it just till it starts to resist and it holds your pipette. Okay, so it's all set up and we're ready for the next step, which is to actually do the column on our centrifuged liquid. So I'll do that next.